Got Class 6 Berkshire Gilt here in the ring. Just one correction to the program. Gilt 910-6 is going to go to, exhibited by Christy McGuire from Belton, Texas. All pedigrees the same, but Christy McGuire is the exhibitor of 910-6, not Kenzie Ray Goldman.
So I think we got about, looks like about 8 in this particular class. These are getting into some of the big girls. This is the November class. Gilts that definitely got some size and age to them.
We got one gilt that caught the pen so far, 890-5. Torrance and Christian, Farmington, Iowa. A double take flyby gilt. Second gilt in, looks like 873-5. Kevin or Morgan Roger of Arizona, two-tone gilt.
I'm going to step out on a limb and say that's probably a Heimer bred gilt. That family, they feed and show lots and lots of Heimer hogs. Judge a jackpot in Arizona back in the spring, and that family had a real good set there from Jesse. Definitely know what it takes to bring these things out and get it done.
Class 6, 910-6. The owner is Christy McGuire, Kenzie Ray Goldman. So if you can change that in the catalog, the rest of the information is correct. Christy McGuire, 910-6. Please update your catalog.
Looks like 867-5 is going to catch pen 3. Jackson Pitts, Fort Scott, Kansas, with our, I think it's our first Bohica gilt we've had today.
Yeah, it's been the first time I've seen that pedigree come across our sheet.
We got 3 in the pen, 5 in the ring. Here yet left to be sorted in Class 6.
I made the comment to you earlier, just kind of looking around. Really good sized crowd around the ringside here. Bleachers are full on both sides. Standing room only around the ringside. Definitely lots of interest and passion here for the Berkshire breed. It looks like at World Pork Expo.
Something that's becoming more and more commonplace, Jason, is a really big crowd around the Berkshire ring.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Again, running into some issues here. Some gilts not wanting to cooperate here in this Iowa heat today. Going in 6 is 808-5. Kaylee Betancourt of California, a scavenger wanted. John and Brad are going to discuss how many here they want to release. I'm guessing they're going to let 3 or 4 out here.
First gilt there you see on your screen, that 890-5, that Torrance and Christian gilt, double time flyby from Iowa.
Coming out of pen 2, that's going to be the Arizona gilt that Jason alluded to earlier. We're assuming a Heimer bred hog. That's the Roger family, a two-tone, non-typical. Really nice looking gilt there, really attractive fronted, got some mass and dimension to her center body there, and looks like she's setting them down square and true.
It's like 862-5 will drop out next. California gilt shown by Donald Roy Naves Jr. Viper main attraction. Well, sounds like a country music band.
I'd say that's a lot of names.
Yeah. It's like just 3 in this class going to get reworked. That Naves gilt's going to end up 3rd.
And that Arizona gilt's going to go 1.
Here's Mr. Hinker.
A really interesting gilt here, and got a nice gilt to lead here, really square in her hip to the ground behind. She's long in her body, she's feminine in her underline. Guy does a really good job presenting her there. He gives a good look to her. One there that really, I'd like to smoothen her out just a little bit in her top line, truthfully, when you let her head down. But a gilt that's long-bodied, very flexible, particularly really like the hip and hind leg in your gilt. Really good underline in that gilt. Next gilt out in second's really intriguing to me, and I know she doesn't have as much makeup on as all these other gilts, and I appreciate that. And this gilt's in her natural state. Long in her body, truly heavy in her skeleton, shoulder set back in there right, has good length of stride. Not as much shape, but I can tell she's not chromed up to have as much shape. That gilt's really long-hipped, long-fronted. She's really good in her design. I think a real natural gilt that has a good skeleton in her. Next gilt's a really gilt that has more body and dimension and finish on her, but not near as good in the hock and the hip as our second place gilt. She does have a lot more dimension and probably muscle shape today, but I didn't think her rear leg and her reach behind and heaviness of skeleton is quite as good. Next gilt out is another gilt that I do appreciate for her frame size, a gilt that has really good bone in her. She gets just a little bit straighter up through her front end, closes up just a nickel, but one there that's really good in her maturity, kind of square in her build. Another gilt, too, that I appreciated in the fact that her underline is very feminine and functional. Got to like that about her. We get in this gilt here, we get a gilt that's really a boxy gilt, feminine underline, a lot of power and muscle. Just needs to be more extended on both ends of her skeleton for me to move up any higher. We get in a gilt here next that is more extended. I really like the front end of this gilt here. This one has a lot of reach, kind of funny in her underline and the way her front and second nipple kind of come together. Just gets too steep in her rump, but I really like the looseness, the blade size, the extension your gilt offers. Another gilt that's bigger in her kind. You have to like that about her. She, too, doesn't have quite as much makeup on her, but she's really a long hip gilt. She's tall at the shoulder. A gilt that has some breeding value to her there. I think I really like the length of rump and the squareness to that gilt. Just give her just a little bit more inside, and we could have moved up her higher. And then last gilt there just needs to be a frame size bigger, a little looser in her package there to move up any higher in this good class. Let's give these guys a hand for a nice competitive class of Berkshire females. Good job.
Here are the results of Class 6 in our Berkshire Gilt Show. Your class winner was Kevin or Megan Roger, Mesa, Arizona, 873-5. Second in the class, 890-5, Torrance and Christian, Farmington, Iowa. Third in the class, Donald Roy Navis Jr., Pleasant Grove, California, 862-5. Fourth, Jackson Pitts, Fort Scott, Kansas, 867.5. Fifth in the class was the correction on the name there at the bottom of your page, Christy McGuire of Belton, Texas, 910-6. All 8 Gilts out of Class 6 have made the sale.